by him. Aurangzeb, he extended the throne in 1658, eliminated all the competitors, Dara Shikoh, Shuja Murad, all of them. They were defeated in the war of succession. Then his reign is divided. First roughly 20-25 years they are in the North India, and the second they are in the Deccan. Okay, and military campaigns also of large number. One of the highest military campaigns were, he was a very powerful military commander. However, he did not realize that the Maratha challenge cannot be subdued by these things, because they were following which kind of method of warfare? Indirect method or guerrilla method of warfare. He retained Shahjahan's capital, that is Shahjahabad, as the capital initially, but later on, since he shifted towards Deccan, तो उनकी जो major area of working था वो कहाँ पहुंच गया था? औरंगाबाद की side में. ठीक है? Rebellion and uprisings. So he faced lots of uprising in North India when he eventually tried to enforce his rule, which include Jat rebellion, Satnami, Sikh rebellion. In fact, even Afghans also rebelled against him. This was also the phase where we see a bit of economic turmoil, and when economy was on the downfall, they were trying to extract as much revenue as possible. So naturally, some of the people who were having the martial spirit, they fought against the Mughals itself. So these four revolts, all of you need to remember. These are known as 17th century revolt, led by Jat, Satnami, Sikh, and fourth by the Afghans. All four revolt, they were led against the activities of Aurangzeb. Rajput resistance also started increasing during his time, and specifically in the area of both Marwar and Mewar. These were the areas. So in Marwar, the revolt was led by Rani Hadi against the installation of Indra Singh. Indra Singh was the candidate of Aurangzeb, and that's why they were not happy. Why are you meddling in our internal affairs? क्यों उसमें entry कर रहे हो? Revolt in Mewar was led by Rana Raj Singh, supported by Prince Akbar, but it was suppressed by the Mughal forces, and eventually बाद में उसको diplomatic level पे settle कर लिया गया. This is the profile of Aurangzeb. So Aurangzeb was able to increase his footprint all the way up to South India. But the biggest problem with this area of Deccan, it was relatively unstable. This was not having the level of stability which was required. And as I've told you previously also, when you're creating an empire, conquering is just the beginning of it. You have to stabilize it, you have to do economic reforms, you have to do military reforms. All those things are required. So whenever we compared Akbar and Aurangzeb, the biggest problem is with respect to only the consolidation, because in expansion he was the king. Okay, majority of the campaigns were taken by him, like both the area of Bijapur, Golconda, all of them, they were conquered by him. But the only problem is he was just interested in the military operations. He was not interested in the administration. And this lack of focus on administration led to the complete decline of Mughal Empire the moment he died. His motivations in the Deccan: number one, Maratha threat. He wanted to defeat them. Shia kingdoms were there, where we see Bijapur and Golconda. He was a very hardened personality with respect to the follower of Sunni Islam. In fact, it is often said that he used to go for namaz even during the battlefield, 5 days and 5 times a day. So that's how he was a follower of religion, and necessarily he did not like the Shias. Internal conflict also there in the southern region, and eventually his son Akbar, he went against him. So because of all these factors, he went towards Deccan, and for next 25 years continued there. He kept on fighting, and Bijapur and Golconda, both of them, they were captured by him in 1686 and 1687. Outcome was it achieved the territorial expansion, but the expansion किस cost पे आई? Cost is very, very important. Number one, strained the Mughal resources. Second, diverted attention from other areas of the empire, leading to neglect and potential instability. And number three, increased tension with the Marathas, who continue to resist Mughal control. So yes, conquest is important, but conquer करने के बाद करोगे क्या, वही तो ज़्यादा important है. You see USA coming to Afghanistan, you can capture it for a few days. What will you do? You can capture it for a few years. But in the end, what do we require? A sound administration, economic reforms, acceptability among the people. If that is lacking, eventually it's going to fall. The same situation was seen by Aurangzeb. He was just running after one or the other area. So he was chasing a ghost, and वो ghost chase करते करते खुद ही ghost बन गए finally. Okay, so the last 25 years of his life, he could not achieve anything meaningful on the ground. neither he could do any kind of specific administrative reform. His focus was just on fight. So against Marathas, Aurangzeb played a very important role. Like he sent Shasta Khan, Jai Singh. Jai Singh even captured Shivaji and he was brought to Agra. However, at the time of the meeting, Aurangzeb did not speak with respect. And when Shivaji, he reverted that you should be having respect for a king of Deccan. Eventually, he was put in jail and thereafter he escaped and then he focused upon his own project. And that was a very big problem for the Mughals, because by the early 18th century, it will be Marathas who will be more powerful than the Mughals. And the next phase of expansion will not be Mughal, it will be led by the Marathas, and who will be descending from the time of Shivaji, and he will become the biggest level of you can say motivation for them. Outcome, Shivaji continued to resist Mughal control. His sons carried on rebellion, further straining his resources, and his death marked a turning point. In 1707, Mughal Empire was having one of the biggest area under their control. However, they were now lacking authority. Area तो है आपका, लेकिन authority जा चुकी है. And that's something which we need to remember from now onwards. Then against Sikhs, he again ordered the execution of Guru Tegh Bahadur, just like Arjun Dev at the time of Jahangir. At this time it was Guru Tegh Bahadur. After Guru Tegh Bahadur, there was complete militarization. Guru Gobind Singh, he created or established the Khalsa Panth, and thereafter they under Banda Bahadur, and the later among the Sikhs we'll see the rise of one kingdom, and this kingdom is known as the kingdom of Raja Ranjit Singh. Will only unified by the end of 18th century and early 19th century. That's when the empire will be created. So initially it is religious unity, and later on it is going to transform itself into a political unity. In fact, one of the benefit of the third battle of Panipat will go towards the Sikhs, because this whole area of northwest part of India will become unstable, which will lead to the rise of Sikh kingdom. Rajputs, they sent a large army led by his son Akbar to subdue them, faced betrayal as Akbar himself rebelled. Bijapur and Golconda successfully were conquered, but consequences, as we were discussing, overextended empire, lack of trustworthy leaders, and finally preoccupation on Deccan. क्या आपको जो बाकी empire है उसको आप छोड़ छाड़ के एक जगह पे सिर्फ लड़ाई लड़ते रहोगे? Till what time can you think of keeping it under control? And the moment he died, things went down. Religious policy, he reimposed jizya. Then he did not allow the creation of new Hindu temples. He did allow initially the, you can say, a kind of repairing of the temples, but the problem was later on even the repairing was stopped by him. Motivation, as all of us know, religious belief, and second, in the medieval history, it's not just about religion. Every religion was linked to a specific kind of political ideology. So whenever there used to be a major war, first they used to discredit or used to break down some temples, and then only they used to go for the war. So this was like a political message that this is going to create or infuse a kind of hope among the soldiers, and eventually it will be utilized for fighting against the enemies. Complexities, as we have already seen, that even though he was following a very minor kind of policy with respect to Hindus, but the maximum number of Hindu officials, they were in whose reign? It was in Aurangzeb. Starting from Babur, there were lots of nobles and Indians, they were inducted in this, but the maximum number of Hindus, around 33%, they were during the time of Aurangzeb, and that is what we need to see. Overall impact हमें समझ में आ चुका है. His policies led to overstretching of the resources, internal conflicts and rebellion increased, and his policies, just like if we see Akbar was pursuing a liberal minded policy, but he was following a policy which was very specifically against or narrow minded, which created the ecosystem in which an empire cannot be taken for a large number of years. And that's how after 1707 things were going on.
Hi, a very good evening to all of you. I'm Vikas Elawat. I'm a former civil servant. I was able to crack UPSC twice. In fact, in 2018, I was able to get highest marks in history optional, and they were around 324. So this year, I'm coming up with a series which I am calling Self-Study History Optional. इस series में 100 से ज़्यादा वीडियो होने वाले हैं, which are going to cover the different nuances of ancient, medieval, modern as well as world history. So those of you who are preparing for 2025, register करिए and try to get the maximum out of this specific initiative of ours. So at Prep Career IAS, we are producing results from last many years. 2023 में बहुत सारे टॉपर्स हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट से थे. 2022, 21 हर साल बहुत अच्छे टॉपर्स यहाँ से निकले हैं. And they have been able to get very good marks in history optional. So those of you who are thinking कि यार start करके कितना कर पाएंगे कितना नहीं कर पाएंगे, we already have achievements with us. I was able to achieve, my students are achieving, and you can be the next. इन सेशंस में क्या होने वाला है? नंबर 1 विल बी फोकसिंग ऑन फाउंडेशन ऑफ बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम व्हाट इज हिस्ट्री, व्हाट इज हिस्टोरिकल पीरियड, व्हाट इज प्रोटो हिस्ट्री, व्हाट इज प्री हिस्ट्री, बेसिक लेवल. ओके. सेकंड, अलाइनमेंट विद यूपीएससी सिलेबस. जितना भी हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल का सिलेबस है वो 51 पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड है. सो वी आर गोइंग टू अलाइन ईच एंड एवरी कंसेप्ट विद द सिलेबस इटसेल्फ. नंबर 3, वी आर गोइंग टू फोकस ऑन आंसर राइटिंग. ऑल ऑफ यू नो कि जो मेंस है वो ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं होता है, वो सब्जेक्टिव लेवल पे होता है, और आप सब लोगों को आंसर राइटिंग सीखना शुरू करना पड़ेगा, है ना. वी डू नॉट हैव टू मच ऑफ टाइम, तो स्टार्टिंग से ही आंसर राइटिंग शुरू करेंगे. एंड नंबर 4, द ओवरऑल पैकेज इज़ वेरी हॉलिस्टिक इन नेचर. तो अगर आप इसको अच्छे से कर लेते हैं तो जो बेसिक लेवल फाउंडेशन हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल की वो कंप्लीट हो जाएगी. यू आर गोइंग टू गेट मैनी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स अलॉन्ग विद दिस. ओके. 100+ सेशन है, चारों पार्ट कवर होंगे. थीम वाइज सेग्रीगेटेड डायग्राम, फ्लो चार्ट, जितने भी इंपॉर्टेंट एनसीईआरटीज हैं. देखो, अगर हम सारी एनसीईआरटीज को कंबाइन कर दें, एंशिएंट, मिडेवल, मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड ऑफ वेरियस बोर्ड्स ऑफ इंडिया, तो 25 से 26 एनसीईआरटी निकल के आती हैं. उन सबको हमने कोहेरेंट फॉर्म में डिज़ाइन किया है सो दैट यू कैन लर्न द बेस्ट फ्रॉम दैट. ओके. बिकॉज देखो, हिस्ट्री में रिसर्चेज चलती रहती हैं. अभी तमिलनाडु की जो एनसीईआरटीज हैं, दे आर मोर इंपॉर्टेंट इन कंपेरिजन टू द रीसेंट हिस्ट्री देन द प्रीवियस हिस्ट्री, जो कि आर.एस. शर्मा वगैरह, सतीश चंद्रा या फिर बिपिन चंद्रा ने लिखी हैं. दैट्स वाई वी आर कवरिंग ऑल द एनसीईआरटीज एंड दैट्स वाई 100+ सेशंस हो जा रहे हैं टोटल मिला के. देन 30+ वैल्यू एडेड आपको डॉक्यूमेंट मिलने वाले हैं. डेडिकेटेड आंसर राइटिंग सेशन मिलेंगे. जूम सेशंस भी करेंगे बाद में, ताकि आप लोगों की जितने भी डाउट्स हों विद रिस्पेक्ट टू लर्निंग दे कुड बी सॉल्व्ड. ओवरऑल जो है आपको क्लास की पीपीटीज मिलेंगी, कंसेप्ट लिस्ट मिलेगा, पीवाईक्यूज, जितने भी पीवाईक्यूज हैं उनको अच्छे से हमने डिज़ाइन कर दिया ताकि आप सब उनको अच्छे से पढ़ सकें. माइंड मैप मिलेंगे पूरे सिलेबस के, वर्कबुक और लर्निंग असाइनमेंट्स मिलेंगे, एंड सेल्फ असेसमेंट टेस्ट, सो दैट वंस यू लर्न समथिंग तो साथ में उसको एटलीस्ट इवेल्युएट भी करना चाहिए ना, कि भाई हमें कुछ समझ में आया भी है नहीं आया, एटलीस्ट जितना रिक्वायर्ड है वहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं या फिर नहीं पहुँचे हैं. तो आपको करना क्या है? What we need to do दैट सबसे पहले आप रजिस्टर कर लीजिए. ठीक है, आपको एक स्पेसिफिक गूगल शीट मिलेगा, उसमें आप रजिस्टर कर लीजिए. देन एज ऑल ऑफ अस अंडरस्टैंड, हर किसी के पास लिमिटेड स्लॉट्स हैं, तो आपको एक स्पेसिफिक कॉल आएगा, एंड दैट इज समथिंग विच वी आर कॉलिंग एट स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस. बिकॉज अगर हमें आपको ये सारी सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करनी है, द नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स विच वी कैन हेल्प, दे आर ऑलवेज लिमिटेड इन नेचर. सो अकेडमिक काउंसलर इज गोइंग टू कॉल यू, दे गोइंग टू हेल्प यू, और दे गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है. हो सकता है आप कॉलेज के फर्स्ट ईयर में हो, सेकंड ईयर में, थर्ड ईयर में हो, और यू मे हैव ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर सम टाइम एंड यू आर नॉट गेटिंग द डिजायर्ड रिजल्ट. तो इसलिए हमें स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस चाहिए होगा. एंड फाइनली ऑन द बेसिस of this, you're going to get the benefit of this program.